On today's episode of The Average Garage, we're going to service my Pajero Sport. So let's go grab it. Alright, we've got the car on the hoist. We're going to raise it up. We're going to drop the oil. We'll start with that oil, filter, and we'll go from there. No quiero perder lo que queda. Seguimos siempre la pasión y confiamos solo en el amor. Yeah. No quiero perder lo que queda. Ow. Watch your head too. While I'm here, you'll see just up here there's another little tap. That's the drain for my catch can, so I'm going to drain that at the same time. Alright, I've got the new sump plug washer on. Now the bit that everybody gets wrong about this is how tight the sump plug washer or the sump plug needs to be. It's not that tight. I've just always gone by feel. So that's nipped up. Alright, we're just going to get access to the oil filter now. It's behind this front dash plate. I've just cracked that off without this oil drain pan in the way. It was super tight, way tighter than it should have been. Around this oil filter is an O-ring. Make sure that comes off with the filter and isn't stuck. So we've got the new oil filter here. I've just put a light smear of oil around that O-ring. The oil filter only needs to be as tight as you can get it with one hand. Now I'm just checking the brakes here. I recommend taking the wheel off and checking the pads best by eye. But you can see just through there, I've got probably 5 or 6 mil at least left on those rear pads. The fronts are a little harder to check, but I can only just see them. I don't think the camera will pick them up. But you can't get the angle on the camera, but I've got about 4 to 5 mil on the front there. Alright, so just moving on to the front diff, we're going to open this 24 mil bolt up, take it out. The fluid should just dribble out a little bit. Not a disgusting colour, so it's alright. A little bit of a nip, like that. Moving on to the rear diff, much like the front diff, except a lot easier to see. So let's see how full this one is. So that's got plenty in it. It's a nice clean colour. Done. Same as the front and rear diff, it's a 24 mil socket. Doesn't have to be super tight. This is your fill, this is your drain. You want to crack this off, same deal as the diffs, you want it to just dribble out. These ones especially don't have to be super tight, and everybody does them up way too tight. Nice clear fluid. It's dribbling out, which means there's enough in there on my clean floor. That's all your fluids checked, everything except for the gearbox. I don't recommend people to check the gearbox if they don't know exactly what they're doing. Definitely go see a trans specialist and have it flushed. You can see there's some nice shiny spots on my fuel tank bash plate, but might have to look into upgrading that in a bit because it's scraped off a bit, and I got caught up on some tree roots not long ago. As you can see, I bent the ABS sensor here. That's supposed to be up here somewhere, so I'll straighten that back out. Some people flip them around so they sit higher. Now this second bash plate slots under the first. If you have it the other way around, you can actually rip the middle one off if you hit something decent enough. Bit of spit and a run up, and she's in. Just going to clamp that with some pliers. Might flip that one upside down as well. So your power steering fluid, you want to check that. Sometimes they've got a little dipstick in them, otherwise you can poke your pinky in there. You want it to be a nice, usually it's a reddish colour, otherwise it can be a more clear, like a yellowish clear. But if it's dark brown, or it has like a burning smell to it, then it's time to replace it, get it flushed. But first, we're going to put some oil in this bad boy and replace the air filter. Coolant reservoir overflow is over there as well if you want to check your coolant. That X is not the full line. There's 2 dots, as you can just see there. So as you can see, it's a little over full, but that's fine. That amount will not hurt it. We've still got to start it up and run the oil through the system, through the filter. It's probably going to make some horrible noises for the first couple of seconds as it builds oil pressure. But yeah, we'll start it up, let it run up a bit, and then we'll recheck it. Alright, so the oil light's not on the dash, so we've got oil pressure. It's run through the system now. It's good to start it up for about 15-20 seconds. Oil's everywhere it needs to be. Filter will be full. So we're getting closer, a little bit more. Also, the X on the dipstick means change your oil, and I'm guessing you're wondering how the hell can my car get too much oil if I haven't added any. It's actually diesel in the sump, and this is caused by the DPF burn-offs or the DPF regenerations not completing their cycle, which will cause it to overfill with diesel. So that's a little over full, but that's good enough. New filter. Now make sure you get it in the right way, because they will only go in one way. As far as checking your brake fluid, you can give it a visual check, like such. There's fluid in there, but brake fluid is what they call hygroscopic, which means it actually absorbs moisture from the atmosphere and the air. There's not really many places air can get in, but that's why they give it a timed interval to change it. And there's a little test meter you can buy on Wish or Amazon or eBay or whatever you want that can actually read how much moisture content is in the brake fluid itself. This one's alright, I'm not going to bother replacing it, but it is something to keep in mind. It is a consumable and you will need to replace it at certain intervals. Catch can, just unscrew that. Filter's there, it's not falling apart, it's nice and dirty, but that's doing its job. Pop that back down, screw that back on, and finally your coolant. So you can see through the bottle anyways. Give it another visual check. It smells nice and sweet still, don't go drinking it though. So yeah, there's all your under bonnet checks done. Last thing we've got to do now is the fuel filter, which I'm going to go around and do that. And then that's the under bonnet side of things done as far as the service is concerned. Okay, so I'm going to run you through changing the fuel filter now. So I've just put a hose on the white drain plug that you can see now, and I've cracked that off to allow the fuel to run out into a tub below so I don't make a huge mess of the engine bay. You're going to unscrew this ring that you can see now that I'm pointing to. Now that the ring's unscrewed, I'm gently going to wiggle the whole unit up, exposing the filter. Draining the filter in this way also acts as draining the water out of the system, because this is also a water separator. I'm just going to wiggle the filter free, bit of a twist as well. Here's the new filter. I'm just going to place it down in the bowl, make sure all the O-rings are okay. Pull the old big O-ring off, just with a bit of diesel, run it around this O-ring, try and spin it in the groove. Now you're gently going to place this back on top and sort of just work it down a bit, give it a bit of a wiggle, a little bit of pressure. Once you've got this ring tightened back up, you're going to start priming the fuel system by pumping the plunger, and it should get really nice and hard. Once it's hard, you can try and start the engine. Plunger's nice and hard now. I'm going to try and start the engine. So you've just seen me replace the fuel filter now. Make sure the cap's nice and screwed down. If it does stall when you start it up, just prime it again with that plunger and start it again. You shouldn't have any dramas. Now we're going to do the cabin filter, and then that's it. Okay, so for the cabin filter, you're going to start by opening the glove box and then popping it down, which is just by pulling it back and letting it drop a bit. There is, just around this side here, there's one little pop tab you can pop off, which lets it drop the rest of the way. Now you can see this plate here, there's just a little pull tab on each side. You only really need to pull one and the rest will just sort of fall off. And there's your filter. Now I've already replaced this, but as you can see it's got the flow direction. You just pull the old one out, put the new one in. You might need to use a little screwdriver to pry it out maybe. Sometimes they can get a bit stuck. But that's it, and then you just pop this back up. Plonk the little softener on. That's it, that's your cabin filter done. Alright ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today. That's servicing the Pajero, checking all the fluids, changing all of the filters in the car, everything bar the trans. I hope you'd enjoyed the watching it and seeing how it's done. If you have any questions, feel free to put a comment down below. Thank you very much again for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and even hit the bell button to stay up to date for the new videos. And we'll see you all in the next video. Cheers guys.